Alrighty, everybody. Thank you very much for waiting and being patient as we got our final hero into the Nexus. We had a little bit of challenge with the authentication servers, but appreciate your patience as we got everybody together. Tonight's matchup is a Division B West matchup between sOaK eVeRy and Off-Brand Cereal. Standings are posted there, so you can see sOaK eVeRy with 14 points. They are one domination away from being tied for that third place, and Off-Brand Cereal is pretty far behind there. I don't know if they have other matches to play, but you know, this obviously being a very important match for sOaK eVeRy for positioning. I believe, let me confirm if everybody's ready here. 30 seconds, okay, so that's fine. Our last person is ready to go, so good deal. I'm going to go ahead and hit up the Patreon real quick, and then hopefully by the time that's done, we'll be ready to play. Alrighty. So we should be ready to get going here anytime now. I am your host this evening. My name is Arrow. At some point, you may hear my co-host in the background, Alice. She hopefully won't be too disruptive on the game sounds, but she should be relatively okay. Nice big sigh out of her there. She'll provide some commentary anytime I stretch or yawn or anything like that. So tonight again between the sOaK eVeRy and Off-Brand Cereal, Division B West, got some recent activity there in the ticker, just with some recent games in B West, and because it's my stream, I thought I would post what we just did here a few minutes ago with our victory over Bancho. Coming along. Our maps tonight are, we had Alterac Pass banned out by Off-Brand Cereal, Tomb of the Spider Queen was banned out by sOaK eVeRy, and the map pick for Infernal Shrines was picked by sOaK eVeRy, so that's where we're going first. Looks like Team 1 is ready to go. Hopefully Team 2 is ready. Should be any time now. This being the last week of the regular season, there are a lot of games on the calendar. Tonight, in fact, 15 games, 16 if you count for the one that is starting in 37 minutes here between Nobo Esprouts and Regen Retro. Somebody is casting that late game. Looks like that'll be going over to Murda RG on Twitch. And so quite a few games tonight. And Thursday as well looks like quite a packed night. 14 games there. A couple of games on Saturday and Sunday just to round out. Mostly it looks like Division D finalizing their stuff. Let's go. And it looks like we are ready to get into this draft. Infernal Shrine. Welcome to Infernal Shrines. You may notice that there are no game sounds. I did that specifically so you could get the wonderful music of the zone. And let's see here. So our first ban, Kerrigan. Kerrigan being a hero that was pretty high in the popularity on this map with her Q stacks. Haven't seen her a whole lot. Haven't heard her name mentioned hardly at all. But she still has pretty decent value here. Just other heroes, in many cases, take her place. And then, of course, the Anubarak getting the ban. The amount of control he brings is just absolutely significant. With his double stuns, his web, and he really makes a single tank team, a single tank enemy team, get punished with that web, that cocoon. Where the rest of your team just walks in and has a field day. Brightwing, somebody was perhaps watching Nexus Edge this week as Brightwing's Bribe was brought up as being high value on Infernal Shrines. And rounding out the first round of bans with the Diablo ban. Nice solid tank with a lot of walls to knock people against. A little bit of a tank choke out of the sOaK every lane. And Ana the first pick for Springlock on off-brand cereal. We are flying through this draft. These guys are ready to go. Philip with the Johanna and Jaina for DMN. Nice combo with the Blessed Shield and Ring, or you could even see a Welly coming out of Jaina, dealing with to push back that Ana. A Zarya and Tracer. So Tracer being hyper mobile. I'm looking forward to seeing if Ana can even hit Tracer. That should be entertaining to watch. And then, of course, Zarya to help out with the shields for Tracer for when Ana can't quite make that work. They don't currently have a lot of wave clear for the shrines. I mean, Tracer can pick up Bullet Spray at 13 to help with that. Zarya, when she gets a lot of energy, can do decently, but they're going to need some wave clear to pick up. And we've got the Murden ban from sOaK every lane. They really want to choke out those tanks, keep them locked down. And then Raynor, being just an all-around great hero, ace in the hole comboed with Jaina would be pretty significant damage for them. That bonus, I think it's 15% now after his update. So a sOaK getting the silence on top of maybe that ring or the Blessed Shield, keeping him there. Blaze also, same thing. We could be looking at a Combustion Blaze to significantly slow the enemy team. And along with that charge in, gives you a lot of combination potential out of that Blaze Jaina, that sOaK into whatever gets stunned. I'm liking the sOaK every lane draft pretty well here. This looks pretty painful. And a Lucio and a D.Va. So we're going deep into the off meta over here with off-brand cereal. Psychic, if you're out there, I know that you're excited about this. Psychic, of course, his favorite hero is D.Va. He has like 110% win rate with her. Let's see. sOaK and the Chromie. A double mage. Kind of an interesting setup. Maybe it works. Especially at 18 when Chromie gets all of her incredibly powerful storm talents. Whether it's a Pierce or the reduced cooldowns. Reduced cooldowns on Jaina could be just absolutely brutal. But piercing on a map like this would give her significant wave clear. And once again, off-brand cereal doesn't really have a lot of zone clear. They've got the auto attacks from both D.Va and Zarya, but not a lot to get done there. So we'll see. They went deep into the Overwatch representation, so we'll see how this goes for them. Game number 1, and once again, this map was selected by sOaK every lane. If at any time you notice that the sound isn't working, or if there's something that I do, make sure that you ping me in the chat and specifically target my name. I've been known to screw up a thing or two from time to time. It happens. Alrighty then. Let's get this started. So, for sOaK every lane, we have DMN on the Jaina. We have Philip K on Johanna. Strogs is going to be playing the Chromie. Apocalypse on the Blaze. And Key, I'm not going to say 1108 every time, but Key on the sOaK. And on the right for off-brand cereal, we've got Mr. Dr. Patrick on the Lucio. I can't see that name. I'll come into that. Rakatan on the Zarya. Springlock on Ana. Mad Buddha on Tracer. And in the bot lane, Double J on the D.Va. Alrighty then, Tracer is walking up just to get a free poke from the Chromie, and here's our level 1 talents. Chromie going right into the Qs. I'm not surprised that Off-Brand Serial decided to split up early into these lanes with this setup that they've got. The double support, really in a way almost 2.5, and I shouldn't say support anymore, I should call them healers, but 2 healers, 1 support in a way with the Zarya. Not a lot of kill potential. They just have to live through everything. So it looks like they're going to try to just get some damage on this early structure. They got that first tower to about half. But they're working on getting Chromie stacks pretty early on here too. Blaze charges in but doesn't manage to hit anybody, so no real damage there as Chromie continuing to build up her stacks. In the bot lane, D.Va's taken on 3 of them. Not really winning, but certainly not losing, as sOaK every lane will come over here to their camp now and start to get their early camp pulled out. It looks like they spotted the Tracer as she's walking in, wanting to go in 1v3 into the Johanna blinds. Probably not going to see much value out of that. Just working on getting her R charged up a little bit there. You know, I never noticed, but you can see Tracer's ammunition at the top there. That's interesting. So Tracer is clearing out this camp in the mid lane. We'll come back to her in about 5 minutes when she's done with that, as sOaK every lane is coming into enemy territory to grab this Khazra camp. And Johanna and D.Va in the bot lane. D.Va working on building that mech explosion. Let's check in on Tracer here. Oh, she managed to get 2 of them down in the time that they got that camp, so a little bit better than 0. Knocked down to half health with just a quick E and a Q out of Jaina. Up top, 2v3. Still have that turret at half health, so no real significant push on that. Just a few extra pokes out of the Chromie. She's at 13 stacks already out of 40. And our first Shrine is coming up. It's going to be a Frozen Punisher, as Off-Brand Serial will get this first tower down up here and get some damage in on that Chromie as they build the stacks, the energy rather, for Zarya. Unfortunately, she missed that to get the full energy. And sOaK every lane does come down, grab this bottom camp, as D.Va is just not able to put any real pressure on them to prevent that. Alrighty, so it looks like Off-Brand Serial is going to go ahead and make their way down here, get onto this Shrine. I'm interested to see how quickly they can catch up, if at all. They just don't have a lot of damage for this. Tracer's going to dive in, get some damage in on the sToeKov. sToeKov pops his heal. The Johanna Condemn and D goes out, pulls the group back in. It's still a 3v5. They just don't care. Johanna's going to condemn again. Zarya's behind her. Could be in trouble, but doesn't look like she really is that worried about it. D.Va's got her mech explosion, but ends up going down before she can pop it, and will be the first blood going over to sOaK every lane. Tracer getting a little bit of damage in on Jaina there. And we've got 21 in favor of sOaK every lane. Very likely they're gonna get this. They're actually playing a little bit more defensively than I would have expected. Probably just waiting on their cooldowns here. As Johanna goes in deep, they're looking at Zarya. Zarya's pretty low. The charge stun does get her stopped, pulled in on the Lucio there with the condemn, and they're gonna go ahead and back out as D.Va reduces all of their damage with her defense matrix. Up to 33 now for sOaK every lane. This should be pretty well in the bag for them at this point, as Zarya is still down. D.Va does have her mech explosion, but it's just not going to bring enough value. They're not going to get enough of those defenders to make it worth using. So it looks like they're setting up to get this jumped over the side. Ana gets jumped onto. And D.Va's up in front, slowing down the damage of sOaK every lane, trying to do what she can with her defense matrix, as the Punisher gets pulled really far away. Temporal Loop goes out onto the Tracer, but she does manage to E out of that. And Dr. Patrick on the Lucio is going to go down from that Chromie Blast. And this very likely, well, maybe not. They did manage to clear that wave, so now that Ford is going to start doing damage to them, they do need to pull back out. Chromie's about half health and she has no mana. Jaina's taking a bunch from Tracer. She misses the Pulse Bomb. Unfortunately, that could have been a Jaina kill, as Ana misses her Sleep Dart, and Johanna's going to go ahead and just be that shield wall that the team needs to have in order for them to get out. Nice, slow, walking away exit on behalf of sOaK every lane. That was probably one of the better chances they had for the kill as well on off-brand Serial. They did, if that Tracer Bomb manages to land, Stukov's already used his D, so that's a kill if that lands. Hopefully she can get that target a little bit better on the next round. Blaze up here being a lonely boy, getting his push. He's now pushed in farther than the off-brand Serial had been earlier. So he's getting a good value out of that. D.Va's going to go ahead and rotate up there. And 3 versus 4 in the bot lane, but they're certainly not respecting it. There's the Water Elemental with the level of 10 coming out. And Johanna's going to get put to sleep by that Sleep Dart. That Water Elemental just taking a break there in the steam vent. Some damage clearing up the wave here, and Lucio taking the reverse amp, trying to get everybody slowed down. He gets a little bit of damage out there too. Johanna's going to condemn. Here comes the temporal loop on Zarya this time. She goes down. Jaina finishing that job. As Blaze now coming in, he might be looking to get this Ana. Not quite going to get the charge done, but does get the combustion, keeping her slow. Not quite, I think, in range enough to get her. Nope, they do with that condemn. And ultimately, it's Stukov that finishes the job. And this fort did go down thanks to those minions that were left behind. Tracer in the middle trying to clear, get their level 10s. Quick recap of level 10s while we're at it. We've got Blessed Shield, of course, Temporal Loop. We've seen that a couple of times. Combustion, Water Elemental, and Massive Shove coming from the Stukov. On off-brand Serial, we do have the Big Shot, the Graviton Surge, Nano Boost, Quantum Spike, and Lucio hasn't yet taken his. Probably trying to figure out if he wants to take that high 5 for all of the lockdown that they have here, or if it's just going to be better for him to take the shield. The shield is pretty significant and helps for all of the people. High 5 is going to take him longer to really cleanse those people, and there's just so many CCs. Are you gonna take it for the temporal loop? And it looks like he does take that. So high 5 being a new talent, 15-second cooldown on each hero. It does heal a little bit, and it costs 50 mana, so it's not an inexpensive tool, but it's a very short cooldown cleanse. So we'll see how much value they get out of this. As Johanna gets the condemn, pulls in Zarya, Ana's gonna get the temporal loop, and the combustion's gonna go out, but they're gonna get knocked back, and Zarya's gonna go down. The Ana grenade stopping Johanna there. Blaze is going to charge in, hits 2 members, both the Tracer and the Lucio. Lucio is going to go ahead and push off and get away. Tracer might go down, she does, to the Chromie Blast. And once again, we do have the Mech Explosion available, but just simply no targets, no time to do this. And if you're interested in Lucio talents here, so we've got the Party Mix at level 1, Supersonic to give him the reduced cooldown on that push-off talent, and then the Reverse Amp, as we've seen a couple of times now, to help provide that slow or a little bit of extra damage as their team is going in or retreating either way. So, sOaK every lane looking to get their second fort on in the mid lane. Tracer's going to get some damage, both given and taken, as she gets Zarya's shield. This Punisher will just burn right through that middle fort. Punisher's going to hit Tracer. She gets double stunned and obliterated. And there goes the Mech Explosion, gets absolutely zero value as it gets massive shoved away. Here comes the combustion. Zarya is going to get pulled in and stunned. The Graviton capture 4 of them, but ultimately she still goes down as Lucio's going to get caught and destroyed by the Punisher. I believe the mortar shot hit him. And Johanna's not done. She wants this Ana. She wants to pull her in. She gets her. They're slowed. The damage isn't quite there to finish them before they get to the hall. And Tracer does get her, I think it's called Bye-Bye maybe, the grenades at level 4. She does get some damage out of that, but ultimately that gets healed right up by sOaK, and sOaK every lane's going to go ahead and back away. Now this camp up top that they took there is going to get value, probably going to get this fort before Blaze can get up here and kill it, so we'll see. As sOaK every lane does get the offensive Khazra camp there, and off-brand Serial's coming in behind them. They know that they're down below, they see that in the vision, so they're going to go ahead and set up in the well, okay, they took it off the bush. Lucio's going to pop the reverse amp, and here comes the subdue completion for Johanna as Zarya goes down, D.Va's mech dies. Lucio trying to get away, gets pulled back in. He is reverse amping his life off. Ana gets taken down by the Jaina, and Lucio looks like he will get away. And they did get this fort, so they did get some value, but they're still down to keep, and that's going to be constant catapult pressure against them now for the entirety of this game, as Jaina will finish off now their camp in the mid lane. All right, so 4 out of 5 are back up for off-brand Serial. They're down a full talent tier, 16 to 13, and they have no keep in the mid lane. This bot wall is 1 tower down. They're looking to get at least the wall down, and they have 4 out of 5. Chromie being back behind, so it is a 4 versus 5 at this point. And off-brand Serial looking to try to make something happen here. They got to get a kill on somebody. They've had 2 kills in the game, but they got to make something happen now. Johanna's going to get the Katem. Here comes Blaze with his charge, looking for that combustion. Not coming out yet. The mech explosion, I'm expecting that to go away. Unfortunately, it misses and gets the Tracer, and the mech explosion will finish the sOaK. D.Va goes back into her mech, starts the defense matrix to keep Lucio alive. Johanna's at 700 health. Lucio diving in, hoping that stun is just enough, but he's actually going to go down to the Jaina Blizzard. Tracer also getting very low, but manages to recall away, and Zarya will finish off that Jaina. So they're getting significant value here. Unfortunately, the Tracer goes down, and they needed that Tracer to really get to provide the finish on this, as they are going to get the Johanna. And just slightly off, they almost had the Ana kill. So overall, a 3-for-2 trade in favor of off-brand Serial, something they needed, but unfortunately now they're getting catapults on core. They've got to clear this out. They push the catapults away so that they don't do any more damage to the core, but that's 15% damage, and every single percent makes a difference in Heroes of the Storm. sOaK every lane coming back to grab their Shaman camp. Very likely, while this fight is going on, that this camp will take this fort up here, although off-brand Serial is coming up here to do exactly the same, work on this Shaman camp and try to provide that reverse pressure. Off-brand's going to be a little bit ahead on this because of that occasional catapult, so we'll see if either team leaves anybody there to defend that. It looks like they're not going to, because this Punisher could very well be the end of the game if it goes over to sOaK every lane. And with that in mind, off-brand Serial, knowing that they have a much less capability to take these quickly, opts to delay and get that Khazra camp. They're going to come in, Johanna's going to blind, and Zarya's up in front with the Unstoppable with her shield. Now that that's down, here comes sOaK every lane. Zarya's going to get just chunked down, and she will die to the Chromie. Blaze with the big combustion getting damage all over the place. Lucio's going to get charge stunned. He went back because of the temporal loop. May actually make it out because of that anti-synergy. Can't see who that is. That is the Ana, I believe. Yep, goes down to the Chromie after getting charged stunned by Blaze. And Lucio does make it out, but Ana does not. So a 2-0 trade in favor of sOaK every lane, and it looks like in just a moment that top fort does go down. So 3 members up here to clear that up. I don't see how this bottom keep survives at this point, but we'll see what happens. And this mid lane is coming up with a new wave of catapults, so eventually that's going to be a problem, but not something they need to deal with right now. Off-brand Serial is kind of dancing around trying to get this Punisher to jump away, pull it up at least away from the keep to try to get as much damage as they can on it, away from sOaK every lane's player damage here. Chromie's going to get her... Oh my goodness. Zarya's going to get charge stunned and obliterated. Lucio right behind with significant damage on him as they get the mech explosion pushed away. D.Va's going to go down from that as well. So that is now with Tracer 3 for nothing. And with this first Punisher on the core, the Arcane Punisher, it is going to go ahead and finish the game in favor of sOaK every lane. Alrighty then. So that was pretty heavily one-sided, but I think that in that case you had kind of an odd draft for off-brand Serial. They didn't really play into the map. I think they were trying really heavily to focus on the Tracer, but Tracer with that Johanna just wasn't getting it, and Chromie and Jaina just had so much burst that even with the double support and the Zarya shields, they just couldn't keep up. Overall, pretty much what I would expect out of a lot of the talents. I was a little bit surprised to see the greater the greater defense matrix. What is it? Diverting power there at level 4. Generally speaking, I would have expected to see more toward the mech explosion if you're going to go for the pilot build like that, but you know, that's it. The defense matrix did give them, you know, pretty decent value. Obviously that unstoppable was very important. They couldn't convert the kills even with the graviton. They were trying to get that graviton plus mech explosion, and the Stukov was a great pick. The massive shove just countered that basically 100%. Alrighty, we'll be back in a moment as we get set up for game number 2. All right, so our next map is going to be Battlefield of Eternity. I'm looking forward to this. I really enjoy Battlefield of Eternity. It's probably, I don't know if it's my favorite map. It's one of my favorite maps for sure. Pretty heavy priority on the objective in this. Guys. So we're gonna expect to see some heroes that maybe you don't see that often. Things like Vala and Artanis. Oh, I should take that off. We're not actually muted. Let's go ahead and remove that. There we go. And this was the pick of sOaK every lane. So off-brand serial looking for that first pick, that first ban and first pick. So let's go ahead and hop right into the draft. Set you up with the right music. There we go. All right, so last game we had Kerrigan banned out first this time, the Diablo coming out from off-brand serial, and now the Anubarak, so keeping consistent on that. The Johanna, this is going to be an interesting game. Who's the next one? Are we going to see maybe Garrosh? Are we banning out all the tanks today? They don't know what to do. Their last bans were Anubarak and Diablo, and now they got to figure out what other tank they want to ban. They banned out Murden last time. That was in the third rotation. There goes the Ana. So, who is your priority on BOE? What's the most important to you at this point? Do you want to team fight your enemy team and then get on the Immortal? Or do you take the first pick Illidan? Not the first thing that I was thinking when I was thinking Battlefield of Eternity first picks, but he can get the camps really well, and if he's supported right, he can be an absolute menace. Unfortunately, Arthas is pretty brutal to deal with when you're playing an Illidan. With his Frozen Winds, I think is what it's called, being just damage and slows. Looks like Off-Brand is going deep into the auto attackers with the Zul'jin and Illidan combo here. And let's see. Orphea might be able to help, with some of that longer range damage, and of course the Zul'jin being able to get his damage from pretty far away. So we'll see how that turns out. Abathur, not a bad idea. This could have been a solo support as Abathur, and that would have been, a lot of potential extra damage. Karazim being banned out then. He does, fairly decent damage against the Immortal for a support, so I don't hate it. I'm not sure it's the direction they would have been going, but I don't hate it. Would work really well with the dive of Artanis as well. Here comes the Raynor, very significant immortal damage as well. And the Lucio, giving a nice combo with the Arthas. And we're going full meme over here, folks. We've got the Li Ming and Hanzo. So, in theory, we've got the greater race on behalf of off-brand serial. And you know what? I say it in the Stormling games when this happens. Don't count it out. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on until you get to the end. Until the core is dead, it can still work. So, I like the draft of sOaK every lane much better. I think after last game that off-brand serial is looking at this and saying we're just going to come and have some fun, play the heroes we want to play. I think they did that last game, and I think that it looks like they're doing the same thing here. So, alrighty then. Well, we'll see how this turns out. 5 DPS versus a little bit more standard of a comp. Going into game 2 on Battlefield of Eternity. between sOaK Every Lane and Off-Brand Cereal. It's kind of fun checking out the portraits. No real portrait synergy, so I can't give either team the likely win just from that anyways. Alrighty then, so... Did I get it? Yes, I did. There we go. For our blue team, sOaK Every Lane, we've got Apocalypse on the Artanis, Philip K on the Arthas. I'm going to mess that up a lot. Raynor is being played by DMN. Key is playing the Lucio. And I'm going to tell you the Medivh in just a moment. It's Strogs. And on Off-Brand Cereal, we've got Mr. Dr. Patrick on the Orpheus, Springlock on Hanzo, Double J there on the Li Ming, Rakatan on Zul'jin, and Mad Buddha on Illidan. It's been 10,000 years since he's been in this Nexus. Or at least it seems like it. So all 5 members of Off-Brand Cereal coming up here to the top lane. Usually when you do this, you want to try to get some push onto that wall, but they didn't really have anybody to take the hits for it. Now they do have this wave, so they are going to get some push over here. Illidan's going to hop over the side and then get swapped deeper, so luckily for him, he was able to evade that damage from the core. Medivh getting chunked down, and he's going to be the first blood of the game, as Illidan almost going down to the tower shots. A little bit of damage down here for sOaK Every Lane in the bot lane, but certainly not as much value as both towers and the wall for top lane for Off-Brand Cereal. Swap missing on the Zul'jin, and we've got a 2 versus 4 up here, and Arthas is going to go down to all of that. I'm sorry, Artanis is going to go down to all that incoming damage. Orpheo does manage to land her Q and her Chomp on Medivh, getting him quite low with the cleave out of Zul'jin, but not quite enough, as he will hop into bird form. And they're looking to push this first fort down with all 5 members up here. They don't care about soaking that bot lane. That's not their name. Illidan's going to go in on the Medivh, but unfortunately he just misses as the portal gets up, and he will get away. Illidan's soaking a lot of damage and is slowed as that first fort will go down in favor of Off-Brand Cereal. And that's going to be absolutely huge for them in this game. They almost have to do that with this damage. Hanzo's going to get caught by the root from Arthas, but he's going to get massive damage from the Orphea. And he will walk out of this. Medivh's scouting out this 4-man up here. And it looks like Illidan's going to come down and try to counter this Raynor. Stop him from catching the same amount of value that they've gotten. And of course, level 4 achieved first for sOaK Every Lane, as they've been soaking every lane. But that trickle XP will favor Off-Brand Cereal going forward. And we do see, interestingly enough, we do see target practice out of Hanzo. Not generally the build you go on BOE just because of the amount of damage that his serrated arrows do to the Immortal. But again, they're playing a different type of comp. They've got to play things differently. So, you know, that can provide some significant burst potential if you're not quite as good with hitting those W's on the players. So we'll see how that turns out. And of course, Medivh always present, keeping an eye on what's going on here. All right, so Off-Brand Cereal just walking in and taking that first half, that halftime with no problem. Medivh's not soaking, but he's watching. He comes down and is instantly at 2/3 of his health. He's going to portal out. Arthas is going in. He's also super chunked as Zul'jin will go down. Raynor walks up and he's taking some damage. Orphea is pushing him back, but he does get a little bit of damage in there too. Arthas doesn't have a whole lot of health here, so he's got to be careful as Illidan will dive in. He is running around on the Raynor, but will dive away thanks to that Arthas, as Arthas will now go down to Orphea's significant burst potential there. And it looks like Hanzo with the 10 health walking away as Illidan will finish off Medivh. Getting stunned by the Immortal, that could have been very problematic for him, as they will get nearly a full shield Immortal on top of this top fort. They did get this almost this first turret down as well, with between the catapult and that shaman camp. So they're getting far more value out of this 5 DPS comp than I expected, and they're not even gonna push with the Immortal. They're gonna come up here, look at this Artanis, and see if they can't finish this wall. Maybe they push for keep. They've got a wave behind them. All 5 of them up here. Hanzo's pretty low, so he's got to be careful. Medivh dropping that portal, just making things, just reminding him he's here and can be a pain. Illidan takes a shot from the keep, so he's slowed and chunked down to half, as Orphea is going to get some damage on the wall. Illidan almost, nope, he dies to the Medivh, getting that Q off. Medivh continuing to get his Qs, but gets out of dodge. He's only at 10 stacks right now, so he's got a ways to go to make that a thing. Raynor finishing up the Immortal in the bot lane as it got about half of this fort. And Medivh watching over here, he's setting up this portal because he knows that they can easily jump in on one of these targets and potentially get a kill. And it looks like it's gonna be Orphea. So experience almost even. sOaK LaNe just a little bit ahead, as Illidan is now soaking the bot lane for them as well. Arthas and Medivh taking the portal in, gonna get right onto Zul'jin, and they're not gonna care about that tower. They're gonna finish the job. Artanis getting the swap onto Hanzo, and Hanzo will also go down. Very difficult for him to get away with that Arthas slow on him. Now that Illidan has pushed this lane up, he's gonna go ahead and look at this bottom camp. Raynor knows that's happening. Illidan diving in on the Raynor. Raynor missing with his Q. He's getting super chunked. His and there goes the spray. Count that one on the ticker, as Illidan will walk away. And it looks like sOaK LaNe now about 3/4 of an XP lead, 3/4 of a level XP lead. They are going to hit 10s first. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, they pretty much have to come in on this, right? They have to push on this, because if they don't, off-brand Serial's just going to do massive damage. So they've got to get these guys off of their Immortal with their level 10s. And it looks like we're seeing Polymorph, the Pulse, Suppression Pulse, the Shield out of Lucio, Army of the Dead, which doesn't surprise me, and of course, Raynor's Raider. And they are going to go ahead and come in on this. But again, their Immortal's already almost at halftime. They are going to get the root on the Zul'jin. There goes the reverse amp, and Zul'jin gets deleted from the game. He's not even a hero anymore, as Orphea will follow him. The shield goes out, the Army of the Dead also coming out, just to make sure that Arthas stays alive, and the immense amount of burst potential out of off-brand Serial doesn't push him away. Illidan's going to hunt in on the Medivh, not finish the job, unfortunately, as Medivh will portal out and make it away. And they will come take their camp as now the Immortals take the offensive positions. Medivh going back, he's got to hit that well. He's super low. Zul'jin gets the cleave out, hits a couple members. Illidan is diving in on the Arthas, question mark? But he's now on the Artanis. As the blind goes out, hits a couple of people. Illidan is still going in. He doesn't care. He wants this kill as he gets polyed and deleted. They're going to come in on the Orphea. They might be able to get her just a couple more hits, and there she goes. So Medivh gets a double kill for his team, and Arthas finishes off the Zul'jin for a 3-for-0. And as you can see, Medivh sitting at 24 stacks now. Arthas at 9 stacks on his root quest and 62 on his E quest. And that camp that they got is not going to get any real value, but it is going to pull the Artanis back. Interestingly enough, Artanis going with the reactive parry. Hanzo getting caught here, and the portal missing just barely, but Lucio's bringing this down. They want this kill, and they are going to get it. And the poly onto, I think that was Orphea? No, that was Li Ming. No real significant value, but she will stop the transformation into the bird, just to get things slowed down a little bit. So it's a 5v4 here, technically speaking, if Artanis comes back. And it looks like sOaK Every Lane wants to come back here, maybe get onto their camp. Or not. They're going to go ahead and pop out the Suppression Pulse. That's all 4 members of Off-Brand Serial who are blinded. Portal in onto the Illidan. There goes the Crushing Jaws, which catches only the Lucio, I believe. Rakatan going down from the Artanis. Illidan hunting in onto the Lucio, as Li Ming is now getting chunked by that Arthas and Artanis. Illidan finishing the job on the Rainer. He's just going to town over here. This team has to pay attention to him, and they finally get that finished. Arthas popping Army of the Dead, just barely staying alive, but he goes down as well from the Orphea. Hanzo finishing off Medivh and resetting his stacks, but Artanis is going to finish Hanzo now. And it's just an empty mana Li Ming against an Artanis without amateur opponent. Phew. What else is there to say? By the way, we have some heroics. Those happened. In case you missed it, it was the Hunt, Wave of Force, Crushing Jaws, Taz Dingo, and the Dragon Arrow from Hanzo. So they are looking to try to finish off this Immortal. They're very close. Artanis missing the swap on the Zul'jin. Li Ming, of course, having to find a line of sight to get those shots out. And Zul'jin getting the cleave and a little bit of auto attack damage, but not quite enough. It's 193. They just need one more hit on it from pretty much anything, and they will get it. But Orphea potentially is paying with her life here. Maybe a worth trade? I'm not sure. Li Ming has the potential to get away here with her teleports. The Wave of Force getting him knocked back. The swap just barely missing. Lucio's reverse amp keeping her slowed down. Her teleports again getting away, but Artanis is going to finish the job. Here comes Illidan onto the Lucio again, and he manages to take him out. He wants to keep attacking this Arthas, who's now at half health thanks to all that, and I believe some fort damage, but he's not going to be able to finish that job. And Illidan into Arthas, it's going to be tough to kill him. And it looks like they are going to split push again with the Immortal in the bot lane. Medivh's going to pop in, get a portal in, or I'm sorry, a polymorph in on the Zul'jin. Slow things down just a little bit, but it's just him against all 3 of these beefy auto attackers, and that first keep will go down. There goes the Taz Dingo in response to Medivh's potential Q damage as he was stacking up again, up to 5 stacks now. And we do see Zul'jin at 11 stacks for his, so he still has a ways to go. As Off-Brand Serial is going to come up here and work on now their top camp. Medivh is heading up. He has an idea this is happening. Just wants to say hello, remind them that he's here. And they're going to work on their Shaman camp as well. They want to keep the pressure in this top lane. They are pushing this hard. There's 1 keep left in the game for sOaK Every Lane, and you know, right now I gotta say maybe I was wrong. They're pushing this hard. They don't care that they die occasionally because they have so much damage from the rest of their team. 1 death doesn't really matter. And we right now have right, Medivh's up in the air. Illidan diving in just to push them back a little bit so that they can clear this. But again, sOaK Every Lane has to at least send somebody back to clear that top lane. That's 2 camps going in, and they're going to send everybody back. So we're going to see this bottom camp, and depending on how long it takes them to get that, Off-Brand Serial may come up here, try to get the some damage on the keep since they've already gotten that wall thanks to that Immortal. Otherwise, they'll be over here working on this Immortal. And Medivh is just prepping, making sure that he's paying attention to where they're going. Good call, by the way, with or without balls on the Medivh. That was a clutch call. Zoom out a little bit so we can watch this on both of these. So Off-Brand Serial is just about to be at 16. That trickle XP keeping him in the game. Here's Illidan with the camp, trying to push this in and keeping Medivh out of it a little bit. Artanis going for the swap, but he's going to miss. Our Army of the Dead popped for Arthas. There's nobody there to damage him. And here comes Illidan doing Illidan things, just diving all over this keep with the the Khazra and the Catapult. as long as he can survive, he might even be able to kill this this Medivh. As he now hunts away and gets out. 4 members from Off-Brand Serial pushing damage onto this Immortal. sOaK Every Lane just doesn't know how to counter this. Their comp's so heavily focused on racing on this map, and they're just getting beat by the 5 DPS comp. And now there are 2 catapults here and a 3rd on the way, going on to the core. It's starting to get damage on the core, on the shield at least. They're on a timer. They got to make something happen here. Illidan is away as they get in on this Zul'jin, but Tazdingo is going to get significant value. He's going to survive thanks to it, but it does push them off the Immortal, at least for a short period. And Illidan finishes this bottom keep as halftime goes over in favor of Off-Brand Serial, and they will manage to finish off the Hanzo. But now Illidan pushing in this lane. He's got Khazra, he's got 2 catapults, and 2 more coming from the top lane. And Illidan on the core is it's permanent. He's just there forever until somebody deals with this problem. They have 2 lanes that they have to deal with. They have to deal with this fight over here. If this Immortal goes over to Off-Brand Serial, they win the game. They have to deal with Illidan over here, who is just avoiding everybody. Finally, the Poly may be able to get him down, as it just barely does, but there's still a catapult on the core, 28%, as the Off-Brand Serial is gonna get this Immortal at 2/3 of the shield. And there are still catapults going on the core. That's the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Holy smokes, the meme is real. What just happened? I admit, I thought I was going to bed after this game. They said no. They knew what they were doing. They brought it, and they made it real. Holy smokes. We are now going to game 3. I have no idea what to expect. Are we going to see a 5 healer comp? Are we going to see 5 supports? Little TLV with the Zarya and Abathur? Maybe we see the maximum heroes on the map with the Rexar and Samuro and Abathur clone. Like, what are we going to see out of Off-Brand Serial next? I don't know. Maybe you know, but we'll find out in a few minutes. Holy cow. Here are your talents. I don't even know. I don't know what to say. This was absolutely just nuts. And sOaK Every Lane had no idea what to do about it. They kept trying. They tried to play the game as they've known it. And Off-Brand Serial said, nah, we're playing a different game entirely. We're not playing Heroes of the Storm. We're playing Heroes of the DPS. And it was successful. So well done. Well done. Alrighty then, we'll be coming back for Game 3 in a moment, but for now, check out this short little clip about our Patreon. I gotta say, I love watching the chat coming in. This is absolutely nuts. So now, sOaK Every Lane has gained 1 point. That puts him up to 15 points. Off-Brand Serial with the 6 points now. So the 15 points puts them now a whole match ahead of Regen Blue and Arrogant Nephilim. I don't know the tiebreakers, but that is outstanding. And another point would put them tied with Logical Decision. Shout out to our Nexus Edge panelists, the Logical Decision crew of Ziltoid and Wono, who are probably not going to watch this. But if you do, I shouted you out. Just remember that. Alrighty. Our next game is going to be Powers of Doom. Towers of Doom. Now this, a little bit more traditional, I would think. We'll see. Towers of Doom. But again, who knows? I mean, this could be the map where they pick up that Lost Vikings, or the Abathur, or the Samuro Abathur. Off-brand. First pick, sOaK. All right, so once again, sOaK Every Lane has chosen the map. So all 3 maps tonight have been chosen by sOaK Every Lane, and off-brand has been the first ban and first pick. Our first map, Infernal Shrines, going over to sOaK Every Lane. That was pretty heavily dominated by sOaK Every Lane. Our second map, Battlefield of Eternity, went over to off-brand Serial. Pretty heavily dominated by off-brand Serial. This third and final game of this match, I don't know what to expect. I don't know who's going to come out swinging. Both teams in that game tried to play their game. Just one team did it a little bit better. And the Medivh shields just simply were not enough. The slows out of Arthas were not enough. The Artana swaps were always just a little bit off. Not always. There were a couple that made it through, but there were so many that if that hero had a tail, they would have been flying backwards. And even the Lucio movement speed for that Arthas couldn't quite keep it where it needed to be. Right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put us on the BRB screen for just a moment as we wait for our 5th person to make it back into the game. We'll be back in just a moment. Alrighty, sorry I'm a little bit behind. I had to go shout everybody out and in Div B chat, let them all know we're in game number 3 here, and that it has been one heck of a series so far. As our drafts coming out right away, we've got the Diablo ban, the Anubarak ban, and the Asmodan ban. The first Asmodan ban of the evening, and of course the Zagara as well, and a snap pick Vala. They did not come to play. Well, I guess they did come to play, didn't they? Let's see, a noob and the Gara. All right, Johanna and Anna. Probably one of my favorite combos to have to mention, Johanna and Anna, kind of like the Arthas and Artanis. So what goes with Vala? Anything at this point. I don't know. I thought I knew a little bit about the rule book. They rewrote it. Cassia and Karazim, of course. They're doing their best to keep me on my toes over here. In case you're wondering, I'm writing down the other stuff that we had from the last game so I don't forget it. I want to ask them some QQs about that stuff. Sonya being banned out, because why not? What else do you ban against this team that's just done everything? And Mephisto. Mephisto's a real pain in the neck. He's lately had a significant win rate. Let's see. So let's mark this up. So we got Cassia, we got the Vala, Karazim. I wonder if they're doing another like heavy just damage burst comp, because that Karazim could lend pretty well to that. Blaze out of Apocalypse. Blaze did some serious work in game number 1, and of course the Jaina to follow up as well. And here we go. There we go. The blow up comp. Although I don't see the Nazeebo working heavily into that blow up comp, but once again, I'm not going to judge. I was wrong last game. And let's see who's playing. And our final pick for sOaK every lane. Gonna be another mage like Chromie again? Nope, Zeratul. Alright then. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our Game 3 draft. So, clearly I have no idea what I'm talking about. Who do you guys think is gonna win? Because what are we doing with this? We got Nazeebo poisons, Cassia. Like, what ults are we even gonna take? Are we gonna see the Valkyrie to pull somebody in? How are they gonna deal with that Zeratul? That Zeratul is gonna become an absolute menace to them at the latter part of the game. But we shall see. As we go into game number 3 on Towers of Doom between sOaK every lane and off-brand cereal. Kind of like that name. What's your guys' favorite off-brand cereal? I think I like the Lucky Charms one. I don't know what it's called.
Yourself for battle, heroes.
Alrighty then. For the blue team, for sOaK every lane in their last game, we have got Philip K on the Johanna, Key 1108 on the Anna, Strogus on the Zeratul, DMN on the Jaina, and Apocalypse on the Blaze. That is sOaK every lane. For off-brand cereal, we have Mad Buddha on the Vala. We have Double J on the Cassia, Mr. Dr. Patrick on Li Ming, Rakatan on the Karazim, and finally Nazeebo being played by Springlock. And that is your off-brand cereal. Pop up those talents for you so you know exactly what we're going, what kind of craziness we're going to have in this match. And once again, we have 5 in the mid lane from Soak Every Lane. They are not currently soaking every lane. Gonna have to discuss potential name change for them, as 3 members are in the middle for off-brand Serial, and Zebo and Vala heading up to their respective lanes to go ahead and start soaking right away. Looks like some globe talents for Soak Every Lane. And we've got an Insight build Kerosene. He wants to be able to pop off all of the things. Q for the Cassia. Zeratul getting a little bit of damage in on the Kerosene, but he's Kerosene. He's just going to heal that up pretty quickly. Blizzard coming out drops him down pretty quickly. They might be able to get this kill, but he does get the heal off just in time, as Li Ming will come up and help him. Soak Every Lane coming over here to get this bottom camp. Very important. The bot lane is the lane in this map. It's the only lane that really matters. You've got the 2 siege camps down here that will push in these towers and ultimately the forts, and then beyond that, potentially points, free points. So bot lane control is very important. It also helps with this bottom altar and the mid altar to, if you can get the opposing team's tower down, you take down their well, and makes it difficult for them to retreat. We do see on the off-brand Serial camp now 3-4 members of Soak Every Lane coming in, and off-brand saying, yeah, we get it. We'll walk away from this for right now. We'll come back on this later. Cassia going to come up and get some poke damage. Now it's a 4v4 on a grenade onto the Kerosene, so he's kind of getting low there. 50 health. He does go down. Zeratul's going to finish him off, I believe. Yep. And Zeratul also very low, but he's going to make it out. Cassia getting chunked down, but she will walk away. And that camp does ultimately end up going over to Soak Every Lane. And they do get the last Pumpkin Sapper killed before he manages to hop in there on that bottom tower. So they get the XP out of this tower, they take this wall down, and again, 6 sappers over in favor of Soak Every Lane. That's going to be a very positive push in their favor. Up top here, we've got Blaze getting chunked down by the Vala. He may end up going down, but Zeratul's going to come in and try to push Vala back. She doesn't care. She's getting some damage in on both of those, so those 2 heroes very likely to have to withdraw. At least Zeratul is going back, as Cassia is going to get their safe altar, and Ana channels the bot altar. So now we've got 3 versus 2 up here in the DPS realm. Kerosene will drop his vision, so he does see that Zeratul as he jumps in on the Blaze, gets some damage on him. Unfortunately, it looks like Vala's going to get knocked out by that grenade, and everybody's here now for Soak Every Lane. They're going to get some significant damage on Cassia. The Li Ming missiles just barely missing Blaze to take him down. The zombie wall goes down, but doesn't hit anything, so he drops it right away. Don't forget you can drop that by hitting your W if you play a Nazebo. Just reminder, because I know that every Nazebo player I seem to play with doesn't know that fact. And look, the bottom Sapper camp is already up. We start the game off 36-32. 4 points in favor of Soak Every Lane. Nazebo working on his stacks, currently sitting at 23. And he did go Spider build as opposed to Toad build. So once again, they really want to try to push that burst damage as much as they possibly can. Vala's Hungering Arrow coming out as well for just even more damage, more burst damage here. 2v2 up top here as Zeratul's going to jump in, get his Q, get some damage on Kerosene, but he's going to get a ton of damage coming back from Vala. Blaze with the charge in on Kerosene. They will finish off that camp, and Kerosene's still fairly low, so Zeratul knows that he can come in and potentially take this out, but Vala pushing them back with about half health on Blaze now. In the bot lane, Soak Every Lane did pick up this camp, and they're trying to get the push in. See if any value, yeah, so the off-brand Serial does get value top out of their Pumpkin Sappers. In the bot lane, one of these Pumpkin Sappers is just about dead. And here come our double altar phase at the top. Cassie will not quite finish off that first one. And one of those will make it through, so a little bit of damage on that fort. And I'm interested to see how aggressive they want to be right now. It looks like they pretty much don't. Off-brand Serial only has 3 people up here, now coming up with a Nazebo. Ana's going to go ahead and channel hers, and sOaK Every Lane is going to put some pressure in here, keep them busy. Ming is going to stop and channel. Johanna probably has a blind. She does, so she stops that channel, walks out of the Cassia fend, and gets the condemn on the Karazim, but he hops out. LaNe trying to channel again, gets interrupted by Blaze. Both Jaina and Johanna very low. Jaina at 100 health. She is going to walk away now. And it looks like sOaK Every Lane is going to walk away now that they see that Off-Brand Serial did get that channel. Blaze is just barely able to make it out with his charge, as Vala nearly finishes the job. If she finishes her Q quest, that's a kill. Currently, she's at 13. She's not too far away from that, as Karazim now finishes his Insight stacks. Up in the top lane, we've got Nazebo versus Zeratul. Nazebo up to about half on his spiders. Pretty far off on his potential level 20, if he's even considering that. And we're coming up on 10 for Off-Brand Serial, so we'll see what ultimates they choose to take here very soon. Karazim posting in this vision, it looks like they had an idea that he was there. And Zeratul just sitting there. He's invisible. But he's letting him know, he's letting his team know that Karazim is sharking around just above them. So even though it's a 3v2 in the lane, they know that he's there. He's there somewhere. Up top here, Vala versus Blaze. No real significant threats going on there. Both playing fairly safe, as Johanna is going to come in on this camp. There are 4 members here of sOaK Every Lane. Both teams are 10. We'll come back to what that is in a moment. But Cassie is going to go down thanks to that Eye of Horus. Blaze is going to charge in. Now it's 5 versus 3. Vala is going to get all kinds of damage in there on Blaze. Knock him back to a half. He pulls away. This is double altar now. Pumpkin Sappers up. They're not going to be able to take that keep down. But this could just very well be at least one and possibly both of the altars in favor of sOaK Every Lane at this point. They know that Vala's in that... Yeah, Vala's in that bush, so they're not too worried about that. They get the mid one, and Mad Buddha on the Vala getting chunked down pretty hard. He gets brought back up by Karazim, and Strogs Zeratul is going to go ahead and channel this now, and the rest of the team is going to zone pretty well for him. There's not a whole lot that Off-Brand Serial could do to get in at that point. So, Vala getting some damage on Johanna, it's late. And Karazim diving in on the Johanna. Getting a little bit of damage with that Li Ming burst, getting her to about half health. Blaze trying to decide if he wants to go up mid with Zeratul or come down and help this. It looks like he's decided that they want to sOaK Every Lane. And Li Ming and the rest of Off-Brand Serial getting a little bit of damage here on this wall. Not anything too crazy. While they're just kind of trading stairs here, we'll go through the ultimates. We've got the Lightning Ball on behalf of Cassia, the Wave of Force, Strafe coming out from Vala, Divine Palm from Karazim, and the Ravenous Spirit from Nazebo. It looks like maybe we could be posturing to try to take this camp. Blaze is going to charge in, but he's going to miss the stun. Karazim's going to go in on the Johanna, get her down to about half health. The blind coming out. Zeratul coming in on the Vala with Blaze. Unfortunately, they can't really finish the job there. Blaze getting down to about half. Johanna's getting fended and still taking just massive amounts of damage. There goes a Lightning Ball, and it's going to finish off Jaina and Johanna immediately after. Blaze is going to charge in on the Vala, but Vala's going to take him out. Zeratul's going to finish Vala and give a trade back. That is a 3-for-1 in favor of Off-Brand Serial. Off-brand indeed. So the rest of those ultimates, we've got the Blessed Shield, the Might of the Nerazim, Ring of Frost, Combustion, and Eye of Horus for Ana. And there goes 4 more points in favor of Off-Brand Serial. They are looking to maybe invade on this camp here. They maybe have a little bit of time as they get their own camp. This would be a 3v3 here. as Zeratul is up getting the top camp, prioritizing that that top lane a little bit because well, you got to do something while your enemies are done, right? So the Kharazim going in on the Blaze, and these Pumpkin Saptors will go ahead and take out the first tower. Potentially with these next three, they'll get the wall, and about halfway down on the second tower. Oh, all three of them are going to go into the wall. Nope, there it is. There it is. They made it. That third one changed his mind at the last minute. Vala clearing up the top camp, so that won't get any significant value there. And Zeratul's coming down. He's looking for somebody. He wants to get somebody low enough to finish the job. And they'll just walk away. They don't have a dog in this fight. Zeratul's going to get this mid tower, a little bit of XP for that, and get some sOaK in the mid lane. And sOaK every lane is kind of dancing around, trying to make it look like they're walking away, but in reality, they're coming right back. And it is a 4v4 again with Blaze in the middle. Johanna's going to blind everybody, pull in the Condemn. The Ring of Frost goes out, hits 3 members of Off-Brand Serial. Ana just sniping everybody as Cassie goes down, Kharazim goes down, and now looking at Springlock going to die as well. Blaze gets the combustion back in on the Li Ming. Doesn't quite get her strafe coming out from Vala, hitting just about everybody and bringing them all down, but she's going to end up going down here as well. A 4-for-0 in favor of sOaK every lane, and they now have free reign of the 3 altar phase. That should be a nice, easy 12 points for them, possibly more if they look to take down any of these towers, or maybe even the boss at this point. Whew! That fight. So we do see that subdue talent coming out of Johanna again. So even if she doesn't complete it, anytime she hits 2 members, they're slowed 80%. That's a huge slow. And this is a 5 versus 3 right now, 4 with the Nazebo. Very questionable as the Bush Gang coming out at this boss. And it looks like sOaK every lane said, you know what, that's fine. We didn't get you. We'll walk away from this for now. Very well played on behalf of sOaK every lane. They really got that team fight going down with all of that CC. That ring was absolutely clutch from Jaina. And they are going to go ahead and get this offensive camp, push this in. That is probably going to be that bottom keep now in favor of sOaK every lane, which gives them immense value for this next altar in the bot lane. It's the only altar, and that's the only way out for Off-Brand Serial. They have 8 points left on their core, so one altar is not going to defeat them, but sOaK every lane could just forego that altar and just get the boss even at this point. Looks like they're just going to do that now. They're going to leave that bot lane. I would have stayed and defended that. I think that's more important than the boss at this point, but they're going to get 4 points out of this, and if they take another team fight in the bot lane, then that's game. So it can work. And if it doesn't, so be it. They've got 28 points. They can give up 4 points if they absolutely just get wiped here. And Off-Brand Serial looking to make some something happen with this camp as they finally do realize that here comes sOaK every lane. They are posting up, trying to make sure that they get in a good position for this altar. Maybe get somebody on it early enough to channel before sOaK every lane gets here. Vala knows that Zeratul's sitting right there. And of course, Ana with that Eye of Horus can hit them from anywhere on the map to delay this. This is game if sOaK every lane gets this. The Nazebo wall protects him. And Ana's she is now out. So if they can channel this, Johanna's going to get the blind. There's a lot of potential poke damage coming out of sOaK every lane. The zombie wall doesn't hit anybody, so he drops it. The 2 members there are just waiting as Vala gets the charge in on the Jaina and does finish the job. Combustion going in on Nazebo is only going to hit Nazebo. Divine Palm out on Kharazim. He's not going to proc it as they finish Ana and Johanna. He is going to go down from the Zeratul. Here comes the Ravenous Spirit on the Blaze. Zeratul trying to just show that he's there. He may even be able to stall and get a kill out of this because he's Zeratul. Unfortunately, it looks like he will, but he will die for that. So there you go. 2 deaths and 5 deaths in favor of off-brand cereal. Now, I think that they probably could have, they had enough time, they probably could have just pushed down this bottom keep, maybe gotten an extra point out of it. That would have been, you know, an extra 1 point, but then they've got these sappers as well. That gives them another 3 points. That keeps them moving in this game. And, you know, they're one boss away. They are potentially one altar. Not right at this moment, but, you know, depending on how things go. And it looks like, once again, the only altar spawning is in the bot lane. Thank you, Alice. That would be my co-caster I mentioned earlier. So having this bottom fort is absolutely vital to their existence. If they defend this, if they keep this, then sOaK Every Lane doesn't have a retreat point. They don't have a place to go tap. They don't have a place to post up. They have to post up above, far, far away. But they don't care. They're just going to let that bottom keep go. They're going to try to get damage here on this mid keep. They want to keep the points at 3, so that now 2 altars are required for sOaK Every Lane. They are going to get the Zeratul slow onto Cassia, but unfortunately the rest of the team's just too far back. Karazim's going to take that top camp, and Nazeebo's going to get some damage. It might be enough to take that top tower with the 3 sappers. Just a little bit off. Now Nazeebo's in trouble, though. The Blaze Stun's going to miss, but the Condemn will hit. He's going to get a pretty significant zombie wall and the Ravenous Spirit, but doesn't really get any damage. Here, they did manage to take this bottom fort back. If only they had gotten this top tower with that Nazeebo. Like, Nazeebo almost should have just stayed in and gotten it. That would have been another probably 10 or 12 points even. But it is going to be 6 points in favor of off-brand cereal. They're looking to make their comeback. This is the comeback map. They have 4 points. They don't, as long as they have 1, they are still in this game. They have to remain untilted and keep on this. They want to push this, well, I guess the top is up and available, but Karazim's pushing out that lane, so he's going to be able to get that. They want to get this mid tower back as soon as possible and keep the pressure on sOaK Every Lane to keep having to go back to the next tower, to the next tower, to the next tower, as much as possible. They don't even finish the bot keep, but they didn't have to. Those minions finished it. And now the top lane is a potential threat for points when the siege camp comes back up in a minute. But this boss is up in 45 seconds, and that is a big threat to off-brand cereal. That is the easiest way for sOaK Every Lane to win. And here comes Karazim. He's going to get the Blessed Shield and the Zeratul. Now, that's devastating. They have no healer to help against that burst potential, that CC burst coming out of sOaK Every Lane, and they're going to go ahead and just take this back. Off-brand cereal's going to get this offensive camp, push down this bot lane again. Both of the altars, however, are in the top lane, so at least right at this moment, that's not quite as important. And now the game is on the line. There are 2 altars up. They can't let either of these altars or the boss through. And it's a 5v4. There goes the ring. It's only going to hit 1 person, but the Vala gets deleted in the back line. And there goes the Nazeebo thanks to that ring. Lightning Ball is going all over the place. It's getting massive amounts of damage, but it's just not enough as Li Ming ends up dying to that Jaina. Cassia now will get caught by the Blaze Stun. The Combustion comes out. Johanna's going to die. Where was that Indomitable? I'm sorry, Indestructible. And Zeratul will finish the job on the Cassia, and that will be game number 3 going over to sOaK Every Lane. Whew! I just want to say to both teams, if you're watching this later, well done. Well done. Absolutely. There was no question that was an absolutely just crazy matchup. Absolutely just nuts. I loved the opportunity to see all of those things happen. And look at these stats. Holy cow. Zeratul, the top damage on sOaK Every Lane with 27,000 damage. Vala more than doubled him. Just absolutely crazy. They just had the burst and blow up to finish the job. And here are your talents. Again, the Johanna blinded by... I don't even... That's a Storm Shield. Okay. I don't know that I've ever actually even taken that talent. Didn't even know it existed. All right, let's see if we can get Philip onto chat. See if we can get him in here to chat about these absolutely just wild games. Let's go back to that. There we go.
Hey, hey.
Hello there.
Yeah, hello.
You know what? I'm gonna let you do most of the talking. I think I might lose my voice soon. Those games were absolutely nuts.
Oh yeah, the drafts. Crazy.
So I don't even know what to ask. Like the drafts were crazy. The bans were fairly consistent. Let's start with the easy question. Everybody loves to ask this question. So how are you feeling after that win?
More stressed than I should. Yeah, the game 2 was rough for us, and just I think we panicked a lot more than we should have. But feeling really good.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Those were some crazy games. So that first game, you guys came out swinging hard and pretty much dominated that first game, like no problems. And
oh yeah.
And like, what were you thinking going into game 2 when you come off of holy smokes, I can't even wait. Let me pull up the thing again here. So you started on Infernal Shrines, then you went into BOE. You guys got map picks on every game. After that first game, going into second game, what are you guys thinking in that moment? Are you thinking this is an easy lockdown, and then you see the team? Like, what are you thinking when you see that draft?
We were thinking it was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be an easy lockdown, and we see the drafts, and it's like, oh yeah, they're memeing. It's gonna be an easy lockdown, and then I think we get cocky. We lose coordination in the middle. We just keep dying, staggering, indecisive, and they just sort of take it from us. Yeah.
I have to say, I mentioned in the game at the beginning, I felt the same as you. I said, they're memeing. That's that first game, maybe they got a little tilted. I don't know, but it was brutal to watch, and it just felt like you guys didn't even you didn't know what to do. There's an Illidan on the court, but there's an Immortal. Like, where do we go? How do we deal with this problem? Is that how it felt to you?
That's kind of how it felt in Calm. It's like, oh, they're here. They're everywhere. It's like, you didn't really have a good way to lock them down. See, we figured we knew they were memeing, and we figured they were going to go to a super Illidan comp. So we went with the Arthas, and then they go into 5 mobile damage, and we can never get on any of them.
It was pretty rough. And
oh yeah.
And how did you feel in that game 1? So again, going back to the beginning there, I haven't been able to see a whole lot of Chromie, but you guys went into a deep double mage comp with the Chromie Jaina and the Stukov. You had a very strong front line, the blow up, and seeing that their draft was basically kind of triple support with almost no damage, no wave clear. Like, what were you guys thinking at the beginning of that game?
They have no wave clear. They're gonna lose. That was pretty much that, and that's pretty much how it played out. Like, they tried to do something where they pushed in top, but Chromie's got decent poke and just sort of shut that down. They couldn't match us in the bottom. We just got every camp, got every objective. We just killed them.
Absolutely. And then game 3. So you obliterate them game 1. Game 2, they come back and have a huge statement and say, we're not done. This is our series now. How did things play out for you guys then going into game 3? What are you talking about? How do you deal with this going into game 3?
Well, we were trying to figure out what meme they were going to play. We banned the Noob in case they decided to play normal, because we just don't want to deal with it. We banned the Zagara in case they tried to do some sort of 5 specialist thing, which I've heard is actually not bad on Towers of Doom. And then we just sort of go into a draft, picking what we want. And we figure out what they're doing. And we're like, oh, okay, we're just going to ban out their front line with Sonya. Because, we realized they were going oh yeah, they're going to go all Nephilim. So,
right,
kind of narrowed down what we were going to ban.
Was their Overwatch. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. And I hadn't even considered the theme of each of the games, even though I did call out the Overwatch in game one. I hadn't considered that it might be their thing to just kind of pick a meme or a subject and then build on it, like the Nephilim, as you just mentioned.
Oh yeah.
And I do have to call out, you guys had game three pretty well in hand for the most part. They almost, looked like they were coming back real strong. They almost had that 6 cap, but
Oh,
the Nazebo ran away, didn't quite finish that top tower. I think if he had stayed and died and finished that tower, this could have been a different conversation. But
oh yeah.
I want to call out your Jaina player, DMN, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Had a monster ring in that
bot
lane.
That was great.
How does your team communicate when you're getting something like that?
Just sort of call it out, call it like ring ring, just get them, and then we sort of get them. there's nothing really special. There's nothing really special in that. It's like, yeah. But yeah, I think what the Zebo thinks, like, oh, I don't want to die, because if I die, then they just get boss for free and they win. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So well, yeah, they're kind of in a bad situation. We were just super far ahead.
Absolutely, and of course at the end there, you've got 2 altars and the boss as potential options. They don't have a Nazebo because he just recently died, and I mean, at that point, it's almost guaranteed game, right? You've got the Ana who can hang back and still heal, but she can just channel that altar. So many potential win conditions at that point. You guys played a fantastic match. I do, want to call out Off-Brand. You guys did an amazing game on that second game. No questions, all the respect in the world.
Oh yeah.
I just want to, give you a moment here to shout out anybody who happens to still be awake at this late hour. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, shout out to my team for keeping it together for that third game and pulling it ahead. Off-Brand, yeah, they played really well. It's just I was like good games, guys. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been good at these shout out things. Shout out to NGS for hosting a great tournament. Amateur series, whatever. It's great. Alright. Oh, and yeah. Good. Shout out to Torch, who's back in town.
To who?
You probably have no idea who that is, but that's basically the person who the first captain of this team.
Fair enough. Welcome back. All right. Well, and it's Philip, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Philip, you guys played a great match. Congratulations on your 2 points. That puts you a little bit higher now in the standings. Let me pull those up just real quick here. B West. So you guys are now going up to 16 points, just a little bit behind Wholesome Halfwits. I think some games must have registered in here because now 10 Armors at 18, Logical Decision 18, Wholesome Halfwits at 17. So you'll be just behind them, but very solidly in 6th place. And it looks like you'll probably be able to hold that, certainly over Regen Blue. And possibly over Arrogant Nephilim as well. They have 2 matches left to go.
Oh, so. Hopefully. Oh, yeah. Jeez, it's only in the top 6 I get into the finals, right? Or is it the top 8?
It is the top 8. Yeah, it's
okay.
The top 8. So
worried for nothing then. All right.
Yeah, so you guys I believe, you're definitely locked in. And I think there is the possibility Arrogant Nephilim could overtake you. So there's a possibility you could be at 7th. But at this point, you're either going to be 6th or 7th, it looks like. So.
All right. Well, Arrogant Nephilim, if you're winning, I challenge you to take our 6th place.
There you go.
All right.
There's the shout out. Arrogant Nephilim being called out.
All right.
Well done, Philip and sOaK eVeRy LaNe. It's been a pleasure this evening. I hope you have a great night and good luck in the playoffs when you get there.
Thanks for casting.
Absolutely.
All right. Good night.
All right, so that is the end of our cast. sOaK Every Lane picking up the 2 points over Off-Brand Cereal, who did get 1 map, and the final battle on Towers of Doom, some very exciting gameplay, and we had some just absolutely bonkers, crazy drafts out of Off-Brand Cereal. If you didn't get a chance to see that first or second game, go check them out. They had some really crazy stuff to play, and that BOE game shocked me. Obviously, it shocked Philip K and sOaK Every Lane. And it was quite a well played game on behalf of Off-Brand Cereal. So good job on that. Have a wonderful night. My name's Arrow, and I will be casting some games on Sunday. Keep an eye out for your other NGS casts this week. There are a lot of games this week. Don't miss the action as we go into the playoffs. A lot of playoff seeds are going to be decided in these next couple of games. There's not a whole lot of games that are that don't show value to one team or the other. So have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you in the Nexus.